to see the first unit in Civics, which is the Indian Constitution. In the last class, we have already seen about what is civics, why study civics, introduction part, why does a country need a constitution. The constitution serves several purposes. Then finally, we have discussed about the Indian Constitution. Synopsis of the lesson. In this session, we are going to see the following topics. The first one is the Indian Constitution key features. Listed below are the key features of the Indian Constitution. Federalism, parliamentary form of government, separation of powers. Then we have fundamental rights. Finally, we have secularism. First, we have to know what is meant by Indian national movement. The Indian national movement emerged in 19th century India and saw thousands of men and women coming together to fight British rule. This culminated, which means this ended in India's independence in 1947. Next, we are going to learn about the Indian Constitution. By the beginning of the 20th century, the Indian national movement had been active in the struggle for independence from British rule for several decades. During the freedom struggle, the nationalists devoted a great deal of time to imagining and planning what a free India would be like. When the Constitution was being written, India was going through a turmoil. Here, turmoil means a state of great disturbance or confusion because of partition of India and Pakistan. The final document reflects a respect for maintaining diversity with preserving national unity along with eradication. Here, eradication means put an end to of poverty through socio-economic reforms. Here, socio-economic means it is a branch of economics and a social science that focuses on the relationship between social behavior and economics. It studies how economic activity affects and is shaped by social processes. So, socio-economic reforms means improvements. In 1946, the Indian Constitutional Assembly was constituted. The members of the Assembly were only Indians. The Assembly was given the responsibility of drafting Indian Constitution. Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar was the head of the drafting committee. The 308 members of the Assembly signed two hand-written documents which were in Hindi and English. On 26 January 1950 at 10:30 a.m., the Constitution of India was incorporated by the Republic of India. A group of 300 people became members of the Constituent Assembly in 1946 and had written India's Constitution. While writing the Indian Constitution, these members kept in mind the different communities who speak different languages, belong to different religions, and have distinct cultures. Here, distinct means different cultures. Here, religion means the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Culture means the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. Next, we are going to learn about the Indian Constitution key features. Listed below are the key features of the Indian Constitution. The first one is federalism. The second one is parliamentary form of government. Third one is separation of powers. Fourth one is fundamental rights. And the fifth one is secularism. First, we are going to learn about federalism. Federalism is the first key feature of the Indian Constitution. First, we have to know what is meant by federalism. Federalism is an agreement between the states and the center to work together and yet function independently. In other words, this refers to the existence. Here, this refers to federalism. So, federalism refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. In India, we have governments at the state level, at the center, and Panchayat Raj at the village level. The Constitution contains lists that detail the issues that each tier, here tier means level of government, can make laws on. In addition, the Constitution also specifies where each tier of government can get the money from for the work that it does. Here tier means level. So, in addition, the Constitution also specifies where each level of government can get the money from for the work that it does. All persons in India are governed by laws and policies made by each of these levels of government. Next, we are going to learn about the second key feature of the Indian Constitution, that is parliamentary form of government. The people of India have a direct role in electing their representatives. The Constitution of India guarantees universal adult suffrage for all citizens. This means every citizen of the country, irrespective of his or her social background, have a direct role in electing their representatives. Also, every citizen of the country, irrespective of his or her social background, can contest in elections. To perform various functions, Government of India have 3 branches. Each have its own specific function and administration, composed of executive branch, legislative branch, and judiciary branch. Government of India, central or union government, is classified into 3. The first one is executive, the second one is legislature or parliament, and the third one is judiciary. Executive consists of president, vice president, cabinet ministers. What are the major responsibility of the executive branch is to pass the laws made by the legislature. The second one is legislature or parliament. Legislature consists of Lok Sabha, which is your lower house, plus Raj Sabha, which is your upper house at central level. Then Prime Minister, PM. So the major responsibility of legislature branch is to make laws. Judiciary consists of Supreme Court of India. So the major responsibility of judiciary branch is to solve conflicts between executive and legislature. The second one is other public related matters or conflicts. Next, we are going to learn about the third key feature of the Indian Constitution, that is separation of powers. There are three organs of government like the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. Let's see one by one in detail. The first one is the legislature. The legislature refers to elected representatives by the people, those who makes laws. The second one is the executive. The executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government. Here, implementing means applying or executing. So, the executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for applying or executing laws and running the government. The third one is the judiciary. The judiciary refers to the system of courts in the country who settles disputes. Here, disputes refers to arguments or disagreements and makes sure that laws are obeyed. Constitution says that each of these organs should exercise different powers. Each organ mentioned above acts as a check on the other organs of government. This ensures, here ensures means safeguards or confirms the balance of power between all three. We have already seen about, so there are three branches of government, right? Constitution provides a separation of powers like legislative, executive and judicial. Legislative branch makes laws, executive branch carries out laws and judicial branch evaluates laws. Now, let's see some keywords. Fundamental rights, fundamental rights. So what is mean by fundamental? Fundamental means basic or primary. Rights literally mean those freedoms which are essential for personal good as well as the good of the community. So fundamental rights are rights important for the happy and healthy living of the people of the country and are generally spelt out in the constitution of the country. Now, let's see the meaning of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are essential human rights that are offered to every person, irrespective of caste, race, creed, place of birth, religion or gender. These are equal to freedom and these rights are essential for personal good and the society at large. First, we have to know what is meant by constitution. A constitution is a basic design which deals with the structure and powers of the government. It also includes rights and duties of citizens. It provides the framework for the organization of the state government. Next, we are going to see some key terms: democracy, socialism, secularism. So, democracy means it is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Next, socialism. Socialism is a theory or system of social organization in which all property is owned by the community and each person contributes and receives according to their ability and needs. Then secularism means the principle of separation of the state from religious institutions. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution in the world. It is a set of rules by which the government rules our country. It is the supreme law of the land. It came into effect on 26th January 1950. Our constitution is based on the principles of democracy, socialism and secularism. So here, democracy means it is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Socialism means it is a theory or system of social organization in which all property is owned by the community and each person contributes and receives according to their ability and needs. Secularism means the principle of separation of the state from religious institutions. So, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is known as the father of Indian Constitution. Next, we are going to learn about fundamental rights. Before that, let's see some keywords: freedom, equality, justice. So what is meant by freedom? Freedom means the power or right to act, speak or think as one wants without hindrance. Here hindrance means obstacle or restriction. Equality means the state of being equal, especially in status, rights or opportunities. Justice means fairness or honesty. In India, our constitution provides us some fundamental rights. These rights allow people to grow and prosper in an environment of freedom. So what is meant by freedom? The power or right to act, speak or think as one wants without hindrance, which means obstacle or restriction. Equality means the state of being equal, especially in status, rights or opportunities. And justice, which means fairness or honesty. Now, let's see the 6 fundamental rights in India: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. First, we are going to learn about right to equality. The Indian Constitution provides its citizens the following fundamental rights. The first one is right to equality. Equality before law implies all persons are considered equal in the eyes of the law. So, right to equality means that all the citizens are equal to in the eyes of the law. The next point is that no discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste or gender. So what is meant by discrimination? Discrimination is when a person is treated unfairly or badly because the person is one of a particular group. So, no discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste or gender. Untouchability is abolished and is considered as a crime. So, what is meant by untouchability? Untouchability is the practice of discriminating various individuals and groups based on their caste and the jobs done by them. Abolished means formally put an end to a system, practice, or institution. So, untouchability is abolished, which means put an end to a practice and is considered as a crime. The next point is that all citizens have access to all public places like roads, parks, theatres, amusement parks, hospitals, schools, pilgrim centers, railway stations, rail and bus services, etc. All citizens have equal access to employment. So, as a whole, right to equality means all persons are equal before the law. This means that all persons shall be equally protected by the laws of the country. It also states that no citizen can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, caste, or sex. Every person has access to all public places, including playgrounds, hotels, shops, etc. The state cannot discriminate against anyone in matters of employment, but there are exceptions to this that you will read about later in this book. The practice of untouchability has also been abolished. Next, we are going to learn about right to freedom. So there are 6 freedoms. First one is freedom of speech and expression. The second one is freedom of assembly. Third one is freedom of association. Fourth one is freedom of movement. Fifth one is freedom of residence. And sixth one is freedom of profession and trade. Right to freedom. The first point is freedom of speech and expression, which enable an individual to participate in public activities. The second point is that freedom to assemble peacefully and without arms. Here arms means weapons. So, freedom to assemble peacefully and without weapons. Freedom to form association and union. Freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. Freedom to reside, which means live in any part of the country. Freedom to practice any profession or occupation, trade or business. So, as a whole, a right to freedom means this includes the right to freedom of speech and expression, the right to form associations, then the right to move freely and reside in any part of the country, and the right to practice any profession, occupation or business. Next, we are going to learn about right against exploitation. Third one is right against exploitation. What is meant by exploitation? Exploitation means the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. The first point is that prohibition of all forms of forced labor, commonly known as begar, which means forced labor. So what is meant by prohibition? Prohibition means banning. In other words, an order to restrain or stop. So what is meant by prohibition? An order to restrain or stop all forms of forced labor, commonly known as begar, which means forced labor. Second point is that prohibition of child labor, children under 14 years of age. which means abolition of employment of children below the age of 14 years in dangerous jobs like factories and mines. It deals with prohibition of employment of children in factories. The third point is that prevents traffic in human beings. Here, traffic refers to human trafficking. So what is meant by human trafficking? Human trafficking is the trade of humans for the purpose of forced labor. So prevents traffic in human beings. So as a whole, right against exploitation means the Constitution prohibits human trafficking, forced labor and employment of children under 14 years of age. Here, human trafficking means the practice of the illegal buying and selling of different commodities across national borders. In the context of fundamental rights discussed in this chapter, human trafficking refers to illegal trade in human beings, particularly women and children. Next, we are going to learn about right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion. So what is meant by religion? Religion means the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. People of the country have a right to follow, practice and preach religion of their choice, which means every citizen of India has a right to promote, practice their religion peacefully. So, as a whole, right to freedom of religion means religious freedom is provided to all citizens. Every person has the right to practice, profess and propagate the religion of their choice. Next, we are going to learn about cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights. All citizens have a right to conserve and develop their own culture. So what is meant by conserve? Conserve means protect. What is meant by culture? Culture means the ideas, customs and social behavior of a particular people or society. So, all citizens have a right to protect and develop their own culture. Any community which has a language and a script of its own has the right to protect and develop them. No citizen can be discriminated against for admission in state or state-aided institutions. So, as a whole, cultural and educational rights means the Constitution states that all minorities, religious or linguistic, can set up their own educational institutions in order to preserve and develop their own culture. Next, we are going to learn about right to constitutional remedies. Next, we are going to learn about right to constitutional remedies. It is by this right that people of the country have the right to approach the courts if they feel that any of their fundamental right has been violated by the state. In other words, this allows citizens to move the court if they believe that any of their fundamental rights have been violated by the state. So, the fourth key feature of the Indian Constitution is fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are referred to as the conscience of Indian Constitution. Here, conscience means ethics, or in other words, sense of right and wrong. Fundamental rights protect citizens against the arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. Here, arbitrary means based on random choice or personal desire rather than any reason or system. The Constitution guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. It also guarantees the rights of minorities against the majority. Here, guarantees means assurances or promises. Minority means any small group in society that is different from the rest because of their race, religion, or political beliefs, or a person who belongs to such a group. Fundamental rights have twofold objectives. The first objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim fundamental rights. The second objective is that fundamental rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. So, in addition to fundamental rights, the Constitution also has a section called Directive Principles of State Policy, which ensure greater social and economic reforms and serve as a guide to the independent Indian state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses. Here, masses refers to common people or crowds. Finally, we are going to see the fifth key feature of the Indian Constitution, that is secularism. First, we have to know what is meant by secularism. Secularism means the principle of separation of the state from religious institutions. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. So, as a whole, the Constitution plays a crucial role in laying out the ideals that we would like all citizens of the country to adhere to, including the representatives that we elect to rule us. Here, crucial means important or vital. Ideals means principles. Adhere means follow or obey. So, the Constitution plays a vital role in laying out the principles that we would like all citizens of the country to follow or obey to, including the representatives that we elect to rule us. Constitution has been changed over the years to reflect new concerns of the polity that involves a change in the fundamental nature of the country. Here, polity means a particular form or system of government. So, Constitution has been changed over the years to reflect new concerns of the polity, which means a particular form or system of government that involves a change in the fundamental nature of the country. I have enclosed the classwork instructions in the PDF. Kindly refer it. So now, we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.